Mushoku Tensei is so real for this. I truly believe that they were going to cut most of this out or almost all of it out because it's just like, how would they show it? But they showed it. And the fact we have Rudy get up early in the morning, this man is exercising, running, and then he just casually, because it's become so commonplace and so normal at this point, he just is up like, Elena, hey, how you doing? While she is literally getting round. Bro! Like, bro, this is next level hilariousness. Just the fact of the matter that literally she's just sitting there having a casual conversation, not even trying to hide it, and she's getting railed while talking to Rudy is just next level. Like, I think anyone watching this episode just was caught by surprise. Like, did this really just happen? Is this happening within the story? This really goes on to the part of just, like, how the vulgar nature of different topics is really ingrained in Mushoku Tensei, and this is obviously one of those topics that's easily ingrained within the series. But okay, let's just talk about it. So basically, with this... Bro, it is that... Rudy's face is literally just like, it's perfect. The reaction faces of Rudy throughout this episode is so on point to really get across just his internal suffering right now. Because, okay, let's get into the main meat of what's going on within the story, and especially this episode. Besides, obviously, most of the episode being about, Elena getting railed. I mean, we have, Rudy having to deal with this new individual that's came into his party that obviously is very active, and he can't do anything about it. Like, there's literally a scene at the end of the episode where he's laying in bed with her, and he realizes he's still getting no reaction because he has ED. And it's just like, obviously, the whole elements of this character, Elena and her introduction and Rudy, they go hand in hand with each other. Because even someone that is just this active and just so forward with their intentions can't even get Rudy excited. And this kind of puts in perspective everything that the story has been about up to this very point, or at least a lot of things that's been on the side building up as a subplot. And that we know Rudy as a character, he's very vulgar. He's someone that is very active and wants to just go after people. If he has a chance of getting with a woman, he will. We've seen this element of his character throughout the story. And the fact of the matter is, you have a character like Elena that just comes out of nowhere, basically, says, oh, I'm affiliated with Paul, I'm affiliated with Roxy, you can trust me, you can chill, do whatever you need, let's go to the Magic Academy, whatever. She's very forward about her intentions, she's not trying to hide it, she definitely probably would have a fun time, so to speak, with Rudy if, he could reciprocate, but obviously can't. And even though she is so daring and forward, he's still getting no reaction. Which shows the case of his ED and how it's just really relevant to the plot in terms of just like, he's very different. He is detached from one of the elements that's been kind of a part of his character literally since the very beginning of the story. So it's fascinating. And obviously people are going to be quick to once again laugh at the elements of Rudy. And yeah, this episode definitely was more on the comedy side, trying to get people to laugh, especially with just Rudy's situation. But I feel like this goes once again that now that Rudy no longer has that kind of that he can rely on or, put his desires, towards the sexual nature, he has to focus on other areas to really improve himself, which kind of, I think, showcasing, especially with this scene, how ripped he's gotten. He's resorted to bodybuilding, exercising, running every day. This is what happens to a man that has ED, so to speak. The man is so down, he's just focusing all that pent-up energy, that frustration, so to speak, into other areas. But on top of that, he's also, focusing on other things that he should focus on. His mother, but also potentially his education, which, presents itself in this episode. So the big point of this is that this episode wants to present that now that Rudy doesn't have, like, that, the whole element of him being, like, a hound dog there's other areas that he can grow as a character. So I think this is good. Honestly, this is good progression for his character. It allows him to focus on other things, but it also is multi-layered, showcasing just what Eris did to him as a person. The everlasting impact of her leaving and walking out of his life has really affected him to such a point that his depression is literally at this point to where he has ED. He can't do anything. So yeah, it's Once again, it's very simplistic if you just want to get down to the nitty-gritty, but it's just like, you know, Alina's entire character, her introduction is to represent that she is literally the embodiment of the vulgar nature of what Mushoku Tensei has to embody, like, just what it is. But the fact that she can't even do anything to Rudy just shows the situation of how bad he is right now. Now, let's get into other elements besides that. So we had the man god appear, and I think that this is legitimately one of my favorite moments of the episode. Like, I just love when the man god just sitting here in front of Rudy, and he just starts shaking and dancing. It's so good. Like, I love the energy. The energy from the man god always just gets me entertained, because it's like, this man legit, he's obviously trying to give divine guidance to Rudy, telling him what he needs to do, while also keeping him in the dark with mysteries, etc. He acts sketchy, shady, whatever, but the point of the matter is, he's always technically guided Rudy down a very good path. He's always helped him out with, like, Ruijerd and all that from, you know, Season 1, helping with certain decisions with the whole Demon Continent. You know, we have seen, you know, the man god has been out there sticking his neck out for Rudy, and once again, he's a character that really has a nice flair to him. He's very interesting, so to speak, and seeing him appear again in this episode is definitely quite a treat, hearing the voice actor again, but also just the overall movement of the character, and I think that is just really fascinating, because I don't fully know if this is CGI or not. I'm assuming, you know, the man god is CGI, a model, but the way it's incorporated into this space and how vague it is with the white space around him, like the background, really just makes him pop out, even though he's also like a white, you know, CGI figure, and he just seems so energetic with just such limited features on him. The way he's presented within the show is honestly pretty spectacular. Once again, I want to point that out. Like, his very design is very limited. Like, I mean, seriously, just, like, think about his very design. He's very plain. He doesn't have much going on with his design, but it does not change the fact, though, that he legitimately is just, like, he takes up the attention. When he's on screen, you focus intently on him, and I think what really makes it work so well together is that while you're watching the screen, your eyes are trying to adjust to the contrast of the lighting around him to be able to focus and make out his shape. There's a lot of multi-layers to this, the techniques that are used in terms of literature, but also just the art and animation, really presenting just kind of what a figure he is, a vague figure that, you know, is just beyond your imagination. You can't fully comprehend what his overall designs or intentions really are. I think that's really cool. I love how this pops out in man god scenes, and I've loved this in Season 1, but I especially just love how this episode presented him with just the energetic nature of his character. Now, the advice he gives Rudy is basically saying there's an answer to your ED. If you go to, you know, the academy, you learn about the displacement incident, aka, you know, the teleportation incident where everybody got teleported all around randomly, you know, like Rudy got put to the, you know, Demon Continent with, you know, Eris. You know, he wants, you know, Rudy to investigate that. And upon investigating this at the Magic Academy, apparently he will figure out some form of ED fix. So that's all he really knows to go on. So obviously Rudy's course of action and travel plans right now is to go to the Magic Academy, which is interesting because technically the beginning of the story, before we even met the man god or Eris, whatever, which feels so long ago, he even said it himself. Rudy's objective was to go to the university with Sylphie. Obviously, Sylphie is no longer around, but it doesn't change the fact, though, his objective, his goal was to go to the Magic Academy and pursue knowledge in the magical nature. That was literally the beginning of the story. And so finally, you know, now that his family's kind of been found, like Zenith has been found and Paul's going to go save her, his sisters have been found, Lily has been found, you know, he knows Sylphie's alive, he just doesn't know where she's at. Everything about this, you know, he's free now, so he can do what he wants. So he's going to the Magic Academy, because that's literally one of the goals he set out when he was younger, and he's finally able to do that. I really like that. I love that element, how we're finally going back to the beginning objective of the story with him going there. Now, we do get a sneak peek of the Academy, which I think is really nice. Like, as they're traveling and all that, we have, like, the, you know, the music and all that play. We get a few characters that appear. I'm not gonna mention names or anything like that because it's just like but yeah, we have other characters that are introduced as well throughout this, and once again, I'm not gonna name them or anything because, you know, you'll find out eventually, but I love this little sequence of events kind of introducing, you know, the future events of certain characters that we're going to encounter. It's honestly just awesome. I love how they use this ending song to really just kind of hype up the upcoming I keep showing this scene, I'm sorry. Just but, you know, we get just like, you know, a nice little sneak peek, a nice PV, so to speak, and I like that. I really like this ending sequence. So I'm excited. I'm honestly excited to really dive into the Magic Academy, because obviously the world of Mushoku Tensei, you know, what probably got us a lot into the series was the element of magic, that theme of the magic nature. So we're finally going to get to have like our mini Hogwarts arc, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, I do want to talk about this dragon sequence before I forget. I really just love how this entire scene flows. Like, you know, the animator that worked on this did a really good job. I love the movement. I just love the element, the particle effects and stuff, like just the little flare effects from the flame. It looks really nice. There's nice smears throughout it. The overall vibe of it really just has so much life and it's unique. I especially love this scene, this very brief scene of just Rudy and all that looking at the drake or dragon. And it's so cool. Just, I don't know, just something about the scene just looks so cool. The way the eyes are drawn to, very distinct, like, serious eyes. Just something about the way this sequence of events looks is just so powerful looking, and the animator that worked on this popped off. They really popped off. Oh yeah, by the way, I really like the fact that the dragon, or wyvern, drake, whatever, isn't CGI. It could have been so easy to make this dragon a CGI abomination, but it wasn't. And I appreciate that element as well so much, that this dragon slash wyvern, whatever, isn't, yeah, it isn't CGI. And it's also very brutal as well. I mean, look at this sequence. It's a very brutal sequence. So, just shout-outs. Shout-outs, honestly, to that. And also, shout-outs to, like, the background art as well. The background art throughout this entire episode was legitimately stellar. I'm a big fan of it. I mean, once again, Mushoku Tensei using its backgrounds and world building and art to its fullest to really present a great story as well. So, I like that. It's a nice canvas that we see these characters placed in, like the world, so to speak. But I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.